What's up, everybody? Welcome to the State by State Investing Podcast, your ultimate real estate guide to investing across the U.S. and Puerto Rico. My name is Melissa Ryan, and today I have the pleasure of talking to Matt Burnett. Welcome, Matt. Thanks
Thanks.
for taking time out of your schedule. I know you have a busy schedule with the kids and everything.
Oh yeah. It's like constant movement, which is actually good for my brain. So I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So you are in Alabama, which is
hmm
exciting. My first investor that I've found in Alabama. So I can't wait to hear about everything you're doing. Let's start off with how you got started real estate investing in Alabama.
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. So I know that, we briefly spoke before the show, but growing up with a general contractor as a dad, he drugged me to all of his job sites. I helped him flip houses. I basically had been flipping houses since the time I was 16, but being paid, like a 16-year-old was. And I thought it was the coolest thing to be making $10 an hour at a time and, cutting grass and doing some small landscaping projects all the way to drywall, bathroom tiles, roofing in the middle of the Alabama summer, which was brutal, and everything in between. So I just sort of got my hands dirty, and I still like to do that. I did wear a shirt without paint on it just for you, but the number of shirts that I own that have materials on them are getting smaller and smaller. But no, it's been a kind of an interesting journey growing up around that atmosphere and watching my dad flip houses and sort of try to do everything and shoulder it all by himself. And so now I'm sort of learning or trying to learn from the mistakes that I saw him make and just try to do everything alone and not scaling out, not hiring on other people, not trying to build something bigger, build an actual business. And I sort of fell into it one day. I found, through the magic of the YouTube algorithm, I found Pace Morby and was like, there's no way I can get a house for free. Not, for free, but without putting any money down my own or putting money, or like borrowing money from private money lenders and that sort of thing. So I gave it a shot and started with one house and still have the house today. My first house was in January of this year. So I've started to scale rapidly, unintentionally, just by the nature of being in Alabama, where there are a lot of opportunities and not a ton of investors. Like you mentioned, if I'm the first person that you met, I want to be the Alabama guy. So it would be really cool to have that opportunity. But yeah, just even as a young kid, going to job sites and then sort of realizing one day, I think that this is something I should be doing, like an inherited skill set almost.
I love that you grew up in the industry and
hmm
you're in Montgomery,
I'm in Birmingham. Yeah.
Birmingham, and
hmm
this is where you grew up.
Yeah. So I actually grew up about from where I'm sitting right now, about 25 minutes north of here in a really small town. It was called Corner. It is called Corner. It's in the corner of three counties, and so that's what they called it. Not really a lot of creative juices there, but it's a really small town, a great place to grow up. A lot of opportunities for me to be used to getting my hands dirty and doing those types of projects. So yeah, I'm still here in Birmingham. Met my wife at college, and we just settled down here.
I love that. And so you said you bought your first
hmm
property in January.
Correct.
When did you join Pace's community?
So I'm trying to remember the exact timeline. August of 2024, I joined the Gator community, because I wanted to get in on uh, the lending side first to see if that was something that like really was able to truly build, sort of a passive income without being super, super hands-on and having to worry about, oh, I'm running the project, I'm going and getting materials, or I'm hiring contractors. It was just a way to sort of enable all of that, because I had a passion for affordable housing. And so I found somebody with that project, went on that project, and then I thought, man, that was really cool that I did that. But then my money was just out there and I wasn't doing any of the work. And so I was like, why don't I get involved? Why don't I actually do a little bit more? So I joined Sub 2 after that in October. And then March of March of last year, was it? I'm trying to remember my timeline. No, it was this year. It was this March. Everything's a blur. But March of this year at Squad Up Summit, which is Pace's community's event, I joined Owners Club, and so it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but I think that it's a great move for what I would like to do, and my Mount Everest, so to speak, trying to bring affordable housing to the people of the state. So
That's great. That is so great. And your first property, was that your
mhm.
primary residence or a rental?
No, so it's a rental.
Okay.
It is a Section 8. There's a Section 8 tenant there, Miss Kim. She is such a sweetheart and is the best tenant ever. We text all the time just because I feel like it's special. Like you never forget your first, you know? And so she's the best. But that was in January. She was my first one. And since then, it's gotten it's gotten pretty big pretty quickly. I've just been able to sort of preach to be an evangelist for the state of Alabama. So it's been really fun to see people want to come and invest here and then partner up with me to do that.
So tell me what is in your portfolio? What else have you purchased since January?
Yeah, so January 2nd, and I set a goal, and I didn't think it was going to necessarily happen. I just sort of put it out there into the ether, sort of like manifest, see what happens. But I was like, what would be really fun is to do 25 and 25. And
I like it.
I was like, why not? Why not try and just see what happens and just really kind of hunker down and go to work. And the the catalyst for that was private equity firm bought my company in January, and I was notified of that and the transaction the whole time. And I just sort of was like, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to start to put some more eggs in this basket, real estate, rather than putting all my eggs in this basket. So, um, I bought the first one in January 2nd. Then I bought 7 more February 4th in a portfolio, which is great. Still have the portfolio, and they're doing a lot better than they were. Put a lot of sweat equity into those. And then on top of that, I have a partner from California who is part of Sub 2. Her name's Riza, and she and I just closed on 20 apartments. They're 5 different quadplexes in West Birmingham, and we're converting those over to Section 8 properties now. So I already surpassed my goal, and it's only August, but I'm looking to continue to work with people who want to come to Birmingham, who want to invest in this area to bring affordable housing to people, because like I said, and I will continue to say throughout the duration of the podcast, it's extremely affordable to invest here. Most, if not all, of the best investment properties, and even the ones that I've been looking at, far exceed the 1% rule or the 0.25% rule, whatever it is that you're looking for. There are options here. So, it's been a wild ride, I will say. I've adopted a few properties from other people who are out of state and just need help. So I started property management, and now I'm essentially managing 33 at this point. So it's been a
Wow.
weird ride, but I'm just trying to hold on.
And you mentioned a W-2. Are you still
Mhm.
in the W-2 or are you transitioning to full-time?
No, so yeah, so whenever the writing on the wall, so to speak, in early January, we got the message that the purchase of our company was taking place. And I started to get, that feeling of just like the writing's on the wall. Is everything going to be okay? And just sort of trying to prepare for that. So that's when I started to lean towards more real estate. So that way, if something does happen, at least I'm able to have, some assets that can help provide, some level of income. And finally, in June, they actually did lay off. They did a round of layoffs. My branch, my specific, like, oh, there goes my microphone. The my specific area was one of the smaller parts of the company. So whenever that happened, I kind of had a feeling that things were gonna, start to head that direction. So I ended up getting laid off in June, and then I was just like, well, let's give this a run and see what happens. Why not? Why not chase it and just see what happens and go from there? And so far, I mean, it's been great. We just got a couple of new projects, um, another another house this week and another house in a week or two that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to be running my crew through those and helping people renovate and then rent them out so I can property manage them for those people and make sure that that's like a Section 8 exit or a co-living exit where it's affordable. So that's kind of what has happened since, since June, since the W-2 fell away.
All right. So all these properties you have, this is amazing. You've already surpassed your goal for 2025 and we're only in August. You're
Mm-hmm.
a year into Pace's community.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, how do you go about finding these properties in Alabama? If somebody were to listen to this podcast and decide that they want to invest in Alabama, where are you finding these properties? What resources are you using?
Yeah. So the great thing about Birmingham is it has a big city feel without the actual big city size. So we joke all the time it's a small town, uh, when in reality it isn't. But when I first started calling around to agents just to make relationships happen, just to sort of build those experiences and those interactions with folks and just ask them questions about real estate in general because I was so new. There wasn't a dumb question, So I would call folks and say, hey, tell me about your listings. Do you see people making a good money off of their flips? And this was early on when I still wasn't entirely certain how I wanted to exit every property. And I said, well, what kind of listings do you have? Do you see the market is pretty active right now? Is there not a lot of activity? And this is, earlier in the year when it was starting to slow down a bit. Things were on the market a little bit longer, 60 days, 70 days, 80 days. And I said, well, and this was me sort of being naive and also playing the naive card at the same time is, well, have they ever thought about, creative exits or creative strategies that will still allow them to sell their properties because they've been sitting on the market so long that tells me that either the house isn't in great shape or they're asking too much money for it and the market can't support that because there's just not a buyer. And usually when you sort of lead the horse to water, sometimes they will drink from the water and sometimes they won't. But yeah, it's a great way to have conversations and just to learn about other agents and what they're doing. And once you meet a certain group of people, they will start to just introduce you to other agents, to other people whose interests align with yours. And I just started talking to agents first and foremost, just to figure out what the landscape was like here in Birmingham and if this was where I really wanted to invest. And they just started sending me leads. I actually have a couple of agents now who every day, every time a price in my buy box changes in the market, I get an email alert just straight from the agent. And that's something that they have connected through MLS, but they essentially just signed me up as like an assistant, and I get all the alerts now, which is really cool. I'm not entirely sure if that's right or not, but it's one of those things that just sort of happen naturally by having conversations. So I did a lot of Zillow research as well. I mean, there's so little competition here right now in Birmingham that it's not hard to just find great leads, good quality leads off of things like Zillow or Realtor.com or Redfin or, just by Googling, you can tell. For me, at this point, I also know and have sort of the zip codes memorized as far as how much HUD will support on a Section 8 voucher because that's my primary exit now. So if I go to a certain zip code, I know exactly what I can expect. I know exactly how fast the house will rent out, depending on if I can find a 3-2 that will cash flow, it'll be gone within a month, easy. Like I won't hardly have any turnaround time just because it's so fast because people want 2 bathrooms, but HUD only pays per bedroom. So I kind of have those things at this point now where I've built up the muscle memory to see something as a good deal or not a good deal, or if it's been on the market forever. just offer some creative terms and see what happens. At least start the conversation, because you never know where it goes or what the bunnies are, what the people's, motivation is and trying to
Yep.
sell. So, there, I feel like, are a million ways to get leads, but for me, I just had to get started because I could sit there and look at pictures all day, but unless I talk to a human being to find out where the leads were truly, then, I wasn't going to be able to get anywhere.
Taking action.
Exactly. And that's sort of how I fell into all of this. I've had a couple of friends, Lynn Dolan and Donna Chartier, that are just the best, and I love them so much. They invested. They became accidental landlords because they had a borrower that defaulted, and they just one day posted in the Facebook group, "Hey, is there anybody in Birmingham?" And I just immediately raised my hand because I'm like, yes, I want investors to come here. I want people to know the value here in Birmingham and the cash flow that's opportunity that, of a lifetime for some people. And so I've now built a relationship with them, and because I built a relationship with them, they turned me and my company onto another lender who had a borrower who just straight up scammed them and took their money. And now they foreclosed on this house that was never finished. And so I got hired to do the work now. So it's just one of those things of, if I had never raised my hand on a comment months and months ago and then helped out, now some really good friends, then I wouldn't be getting the work that I'm getting today and sustaining and providing for my crew who have families. And it's just such a beautiful, like, tapestry that sort of all got cobbled together. That it was just one of those things. Raising my hand, taking action, it will go so much farther than you could ever imagine.
Yep, and providing value to the
Exactly.
community.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned you had a business partner in California.
hmm
What else or what other people do you have on your team right now?
Yeah, so my team is primarily contractors. We have partnered up. So I've only had the partner on one deal who brought basically all of the funds for closing on these 20 units, and then I have other private money lenders that I've worked with who are also part of the community. um, Alyssa Imbracchio, and oh gosh, I always butcher her last name, sorry Alyssa, and Ryan McNamara, but they're fantastic people. They've been extremely patient. We had they were my partners on the portfolio of 7 houses and help bring the down payment for that. And so the way that I've been able to kind of grow and move this forward is by telling people, basically, here's the story. Here's the story of Birmingham. Here's what we can accomplish together, and here's how we can grow this thing. I'm also working with a couple of others who are helping me underwrite deals. I'm more of a visionary. I don't like spreadsheets. I don't like sitting down and crunching numbers and all of the formulas. I have a couple of friends who are really good at that. And so they help me underwrite deals, and we're going to actually start buying some things together as well. So it's not about, for me, it's not about how much can I make by myself, but it's more
Right.
along the lines of, how much can I bring to Birmingham? How much can I bring to the city? Because by doing so, I'm providing people with affordable housing. I'm helping them get the houses that they need, quality, beautiful houses that aren't just, 4 walls with a bunch of holes in them and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I mean, that's my biggest advice is take action, screw up gloriously, post about it, talk about it, and you'll learn so much.
Are you primarily investing in Birmingham, or are you covering other parts of Alabama?
So right now, I am only in Birmingham. I have been getting several leads from the Montgomery area, which is farther south, so the state's capital. It's a little bit farther south from here, about an hour, hour and a half. So for me, again, being a very tangible, I want to touch the houses myself. I want to be able to be within proximity if something were to happen. Just to even drive by my houses. If I don't have, like, for example, I just placed 2 tenants this past week, which was fun, and getting to know them and their stories. And now I just get to drive by their houses just to check on things, and that's just the kind of owner, the kind of property manager that I want to be, is somebody who's accessible, somebody who actually manages the property well, because I've noticed that was such a big need here, in the city specifically, and just trying to stay focused and sort of where I put my roots, so to speak. But I absolutely have, thoughts about Huntsville, about Montgomery. Montgomery is a really big hub for affordable housing as well. Um, I just don't have currently, I don't have a crew down there. I could run crews for sure and do everything remotely, but I also really love the guys that I work with now because they're super dependable and trustworthy, which is just priceless. And especially in this business, it's priceless. When they say they're going to show up, they do, So why would I go somewhere else and have to start all over when there's so much already around me? Like, I just don't have the money to buy all of the leads that I should be. So that's why I keep telling people to come.
So if somebody is interested in investing in Alabama,
Mhm.
anywhere in the state, what advice do you have for them on getting started?
Yeah. Um, Start. That's my biggest thing. I mean, the great thing about it is, again, because it's so affordable, if you find, a 3-bed house and it's under $100,000, you can cash flow off of that deal. That's there you go. That's the simplest, most practical thing I think that I could say probably. Um, I would say build relationships. Talk to people who are active in Birmingham. Talk to people like myself or TJ Wynn, who's also in Sub 2, also in the community. Great guy, very active in Birmingham. And it's just one of those things where, if you find a place you want to get involved, find the people who are already involved and say, what is the pulse on the market right now? How are things going in Birmingham? Do you feel like there are a lot of opportunities, or do you feel like things are starting to get more competitive, and that sort of thing? So, I mean, I think that now is the best time because, I mean, things are so scary out there for traditional, I only want to pay cash type of buyers, because they either are going to have to pay too much or they're going to have to go and get a mortgage, and the rates are still not great right now. And so with creative terms, if you can find a seller who's just trying to get rid of something they don't want anymore, then you have a beautiful opportunity right there in front of you.
I love it. That's great. So you've already accomplished your goals for the year.
Mhm.
What's next for Matt?
Well, I don't think that it would be a good and so for me, I thought it was a really hard, unattainable thing, but I said, "This is what I wanna do this year. This is what I want to accomplish." And it just happened. And it didn't just happen because of the magic of the universe was like, "Here's a special gift just for you." It was because I did have to do a lot of talking. I did have to do a lot of meeting people and putting in a lot of sweat equity into projects I was already on, so people saw the value that I could bring to their project. And so the primary thing is just taking action, taking action, taking action. And in order to achieve whatever goal it is that you have, like, you're not gonna, if I sat on my hands, at the beginning of the year 2025, and I said, I hope that I get these houses this year, I sure hope this happens, then it will never happen. So I've just sort of created a stretch goal where I want to help 50 more people with affordable housing before the end of the year. And that's totally achievable, but it's more of a stretch goal that I sort of had to make up on the fly, because when I realized, like, oh gosh, we're about to close on 20 units and that's going to push me over to like 28 or whatever. And that was in, June. I was like, gosh, that's fantastic and wonderful. But then I didn't want to just like sort of sit on my laurels. I think it's a cool thing for sure. And I want to celebrate that. And I think it's a big deal because it still is hard to do at times. But I think that it's also important to have a next step of, once I accomplish this goal, what is the next thing? Instead of saying, what happens if I do, because you're already planning for success by just simply saying, when I do achieve this thing, what's next? So, 50 people by the end of the year, probably closer to 100. We're looking at a few co-living opportunities. And so I'm just fingers crossed that all, pans out. But again, it's because I got to roll up my sleeves and get back to work.
It's great. You are making an impact in Alabama.
I hope so. That's my whole purpose, my whole goal. Bring affordable housing to, or Mount Everest. If you're an owners club, would be to bring affordable housing to 50,000 people in the state, whether that's in Birmingham, Montgomery, Huntsville, wherever in between. But primarily right now, there's just so much opportunity in Birmingham, so that's where I'm focused and what I want to continue to do.
I love it, Matt. This is so great. If our listeners want to partner with you, get a hold of you, learn from you,
Mhm.
how can they get in touch with you?
I'm going to do something that probably a lot of people won't do. And I'm just going to give you my phone number because to me, there are all these other inputs. And I'm a self diagnosed ADHD type of guy. Every time I see a notification, every time I get something on my screen, there are like 1,000 things a day at least, different stimuli that are all requiring our attention, whether it's Instagram, X, Twitter, YouTube, this, that, the other thing, Discord, and emails, and it's just so much for me that it's so overstimulating that I can't hardly accomplish anything. So I'm going to give people my phone number, so if they just want to text me or call me, they can do that. And I love to be an open book. What you see is what you get. So I'm going to give my phone number, which is 205-382 4215. 205-382-4215. Just tell me your name, where you're from, and how I can help you. And I would love to do that. We can hop on a phone call, we can text, we can voice memo, whatever. I'd be happy to get involved.
Very awesome. Do you have any social media folks can follow you?
Yeah, so you gave me homework the last time that we spoke. You said, go set up an account, go do this, and have it ready for the podcast. And I have to tell you that I failed miserably. And it was because a water main at one of the apartments in one of the quads burst. And so we've been trying to fix that for the past week. And so that's been a huge, and hey guys, guess what? This is real estate, right? Like sometimes things happen and they don't tell you about the times on Instagram where you're crawling under a crawl space, or the time where a sewage pipe bursts, or the time where your tenant's stove stops working and you have to figure out how to help them replace that, right? So that's just one of the things. It's just one of the things that happens, and we're dealing with that right now. Working on repairs, and that's been a big focus for me. So unfortunately, I have not. I'm going to take probably the right after this call, I'm going to be like, oh man, no, I got to really do it. So that way in the show notes or your description below the video on YouTube, you can find my Instagram handle. It will probably have one post,
That's
but,
okay.
but I need to, that's one thing that I need to grow in, right? To help attract people to Alabama, because I can't say I want people to come and then not put it out there, and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is how you can be a part of this. So I'm absolutely going to set that up. I will send you my handle. It will be down in the description below where you can follow me. And also, again, feel free to text me, call me whenever, and happy to help in any way I can.
You can post about the water main.
I can, yeah, I can for sure, absolutely. And I've actually, the worst thing is I have so many videos on my phone of things where I was just like, I can't believe this is real. I can't believe that the person has been living this way, or that the previous landlord was this way, and this is the situation that they've lived in. And so I have plenty of content there.
Sounds like it.
So it's just one of those things. I got to be able to put my money where my mouth is and put it out there. Pace would destroy me if he did.
And I'm sure he's gonna watch our podcast because I'm going to text him, so.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. Yeah. Sorry. You don't have to yell at me anymore because I've already got it.
Okay. Well, Matt, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and thank you to all the listeners for watching. Click the link below to subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes, and leave a comment if there's a state that you wanna see. I'll cover all 50, but if you wanna see it sooner than later, leave me a comment, and thank you very much. We'll catch you on the next episode.